we wanted her to have all these connections to characters throughout Overwatch history through different groups. So relationships with the matters of genetics, and her need to like push forward science. And I'm going to hand it over to Arnold now, so he can talk a little bit about.
And with Moira, it was a little bit of game, and we so we felt like it was time for something a little bit more. There's that tentacles, and everybody really liked that around that, right? You really want someone that has tentacles to have abilities that might reflect those, those visuals. So we tried something a little bit more conventional. We tried, okay, maybe we'll just give her something a little bit more toned down, maybe like a giant two-handed spray cannon. This is where we kind of started to layer in the science vibe to it. You can see some of those tubes starting to get in there. But it started to look a little, I don't know, maybe it might be confused with Zarya on the battlefield with that same silhouette. So we wanted to come up with something different. We took a step back, did a few thumbnails to really dive deep into what kind of weapons does Moira use, for healing or damaging her opponent. And we tried a couple things. Ultimately, there's a couple things from these concepts that we really liked. And on the one on the far left, you'll see that, that character already kind of has Moira's outfit there. We really like that silhouette and that dark vibe that really spoke to like a Talon character or someone from Blackwatch. We tried that same red-haired, long, kind of like gaunt face on the second from the left, from the right, and we still really like that version of Moira. And then there was something on that far right concept that we really liked as well. And if you guys remember last year when we announced Sombra, we showed some of her early concept art. One of those was called the Omni Blade, who later became Hanzo and Genji. But she had these like big sleeves with like these throwing daggers. So this was my way of kind of getting trying to get the throwing dagger back into the game. But we really like the big sleeve. And I don't know if you guys can see it from here, but she's got the purple syringes on one side and she's got this yellow energy on the other side. So that kind of kickstarted the idea of this duality between her left and right hand. So taking those elements, we kind of meshed them all together to come up with the final concept for Moira. We integrated all the elements from the concepts, the thumbnails that we just showed, and started to really kick up the more science apparatus vibe. Now we started coming up with the idea of what if she's got the healing and the damage, and what if the tubes actually had this liquid that would change color when she used those different abilities? So we tried to work that into the game. We tried a couple of different hairstyles, but ultimately, we really liked the red hair on her.
The tubes are actually a great touch because our gameplay is draining people of their energy and feeding sort of as healing to your allies. And you can actually see when that happens, the tubes actually change colors. It's actually directly converting the energy over the healing. It's awesome.
And speaking of which, one of the things that really helped us flesh out that idea is because it's a first-person game, you're going to be seeing her hands a lot. So one of the only heroes that shows both of her hands on the screen, like Zenyatta, like Doomfist. So her hands are everything. Those are her weapons, and we wanted to explore how she could express herself to deal damage and heal. And the animators did a really great job at, you'll notice when you play her, when she's healing, it's this soothing motion. She's like, there, you're all right. But then when she's using her decay move, she's really just like grasping at you and clawing at you and trying to drain your energy. So this is a concept from our senior concept artist, Ben Jang, and he really knocked it out of the park to get that duality in there. And there might even be a little bit of story behind why that hand is like that.
Yeah, how did her hand get messed up? Was it perhaps close proximity to another sort of genetic anomaly or experimentation? Hard to say. I actually do remember that, changing the subject, that when we were really dialing the animations for the hands, we were really concerned with how that felt. It's not that she's out of control when she's using that power. She's 100% in command of it, and so she's really just that's how she shows her mastery.
Very aggressive, just clawing and pulling. We really like the idea of this beach hero.
Yeah.
That life-sucking kind of vibe for her. Another thing we like to do on the concept side is figure out some movement studies, we like to call them. These are sketches we like to do for figuring out both abilities, the VFX, the poses for animation. These are some early sketches for her ultimate ability, Coalescence. One of the initial ideas, she had all of her liquid kind of swirling around her.
Yeah, the original thing was, her original ult was all of her abilities would cool down a lot faster, have like no cooldown, and she would kind of be in hyper mode. And she also had this kind of beam attack that was kind of there also, and then we ended up kind of just like all-inning on the beam attack because it was kind of the coolest part of the whole thing, so we kind of tweaked it as we went.
Yeah, so those are some of the concepts behind Moira, but there wouldn't really be a new hero announcement if we didn't show some awesome skins. So this is the first one for Moira. This one's called Oasis. She actually has a kind of connection with Oasis, isn't it?
Yeah, so currently, in addition to her duties as a scientist for Talon, Moira was also invited by the ministers of Oasis to become their minister of genetics, and so she's basically leading up their genetics research at the city, and this is I guess what she'd wear when she's over there.
Yeah, this one's also done by our concept artist Ben Jang, and he did the concept for the Oasis Symmetra as well. We really love those visuals, and we couldn't wait to use it on another hero, and Moira seemed like the perfect fit. And the next one, my personal favorite. This one we're calling Glam, and it's a tribute to glam rock from the 70s, you know, where they wear these outrageous outfits, crazy makeup, you know, super psychedelic colors, and the hairstyles were just out of control.
I love the lava lamp too, it's a nice touch.
Yeah, instead of like the science slicker, she's got the lava lamp kind of effect on there, so this one's working.
Thanks, guys. So, as we said, like we were hearing you guys' feedback, and we were definitely feeling the same thing. Like, we just need more healers in the game. So we started sort of thinking, what have we done? What would be really cool? What would work with other heroes? What was just a cool, fresh idea? So she actually, on paper, originally really started as actually having a ton of health and trying to like leech health off of people, and then you should feed her own health to people. Ended up being sort of a balancing nightmare because it's like, what if I don't heal people and I just leech forever and you can't ever kill me? It's like, right, that's a problem. So actually, the way she ends up kind of working is in the same vein. She's got sort of the same feel to it, but it doesn't quite have that same design to it. But I'll walk you through all the abilities so you can see how she kind of works with it. So her weapon's called Biotic Grasp. There's a primary fire and a secondary fire to it. The primary fire we call Regeneration. It's this kind of just spray. It's kind of visually a little bit like a Maze Blaster, but it actually pierces all your allies. So you can actually heal multiple allies at the same time and kind of a big cone in front of you. It actually has a ton of throughput. You can heal a lot with this thing. But the only reason it's not overpowered, hopefully, is there's a meter controlling it. And as you can see kind of in this video on the right side, after using it, it kind of drains slowly. And it kind of regenerates pretty slowly by itself over time. But if you actually are trying to heal more, which hopefully you are, you can't really wait for that. So then her second part of this comes into play, which is the alternate fire, which is called the K. This is kind of her damaging. But the biggest important thing is it fills up that meter really fast. So you're healing people, but you also need to take time whenever you can to try to leech energy off your enemies so you can feed it to your allies. It's very she's a very evil way to heal. It's very sinister. She doesn't care. It's worth it. Her first ability we call Fade. This ability is she basically disappears completely. It's complete visibility, kind of like Stormbreath, but it's instant. There's no delay or anything. And then she reappears. It's less than a second. It's super fast. But you also get an intense movement speed boost, so you can hit it and then like go around a corner really quick, and to the enemy you're just completely gone. You don't even know where you went. You can see you don't even go like super far, but you know if a Winston's jumping on you, you can just go, whoop, I'm back here now, and keep healing, keep doing damage. It's great. You notice it has some similarities to Reaper's Rage Form, which is it's funny how that works out.
You know, we obviously there's a close relationship between Moira and Reyes/Reaper, and I think one of the fun things we were able to do is to sort of hint at some of those things in her ability.
It's like she's helping Reaper out, and she's like, I think I can make this better. I have an idea.
Professional relationship.
Yes. The second ability is called Biotic Orb. This also has two different modes, much like her primary and secondary fire, and it follows the same kind of pattern. So first thing you do, you hit this button, she pulls up those two orbs, and it represents damage and healing aspects. If you use the primary fire, you throw off the Orb of Regeneration, and that's sort of the yellow orb you see here. And these orbs can bounce around. They have like infinite bounce, so they can bounce all over like a small area or off ceilings, stuff like that. And if they ever get near allies, it will slow down and start healing them automatically. It has only so much it can heal, as like a contained amount of healing in it. It shrinks over time as it feeds it to everybody. But it's a great way to AoE heal. It's also really good at like longer range because her range isn't super long, generally on her cone heal. So you can throw it like at a Pharah's really far away and try to get the save on her while you get close, and be able to heal her with your primary fire. Or you can choose the alternate fire in this if you want to. They both share the same cool dice, so you have to pick which one you want. And the alternate fire is called Decay. It works basically exactly the same, it's just inverted. So you do damage to enemies. So it can also bounce around. Can be incredibly deadly in a smaller area where it's bouncing around a lot, especially because you can move and act freely while it's happening. So you can throw the orb into an area, chase somebody down, and just start grasping them, taking their damage in that way, and and they're just taking a ton of damage all of a sudden. Kind of have to get out of there during that. But yeah,
I like to throw it into rooms and make my team run in there.
Yeah. That's always the thing. I'd be like Genji, get. Great. Now her ultimate ability is Coalescence. Now this is sort of the ultimate, like she's got this whole dichotomy thing going on. She's always got to choose if she's healing or doing damage. Her ultimate is just like, nope, I get to do everything all at the same time. It's super long range, a really fat beam. She's kind of feeding both hands together and creating this beam that it heals allies that it's hitting and damages enemies that it's hitting. So you just want to hit everybody with it. In fact, in some maps we're playing, we get in this fights in these little corridors. It's just like, I win. I don't care what's happening. Everything good is happening for me right now.
Is that the OPAF?
Yeah, pretty much.
We'll change the name for release.
It's our last name. So there's also some other amazing properties to it. Since it pierces everything, it also includes barriers. So it pierces Reinhardt shields, Winston shields. So yeah, so it's hard to heal sometimes through those things. And you're just like, nope, I'm gonna go through. And then Reinhardt's back there trying to pick. It seems like, well, we can't really sit here anymore. I guess we have to move or something. And of course, if your team jumps in right afterwards, now they're getting healed by it also. So it's just this amazing sort of engage tool. Also, you can pick up those pesky Pharahs sometimes if you get them to wing them. So that's kind of a breakdown of how all the abilities work individually. We actually have a video to show you what it looks like when it's all put together.
We are bedeviled by the mysteries of creation. Science can reveal the truths that lie behind these many questions. What we learn can unlock the true potential of humanity. Geometry. Surrender to my will. Allow me to repair the damage. I feel unstoppable. My will made real.
For the last couple of years. And finally, it is celebrating. It won in create the video game Overwatch, license a game from Overwatch. Play that video again mainly just because.
Where you confronted the Lord of Terror himself. Where you spawned your first Zergling rush. Sometimes, epic memories can only be made in an epic world. Your adventure, your community, your memories. See them come alive in your world. Blizzard World.
Epic fun detected.
Well met. Stay a while and listen to the fireworks. Come and visit Blizzard World. New adventures are waiting for you.
I can't wait to get on Sunrise.
That'd be great. I'm so excited to take you guys through Blizzard World. The whole team, all of Blizzard, is so excited about this map, and we thought that BlizzCon would be the ultimate place to show it to you guys. So Blizzard World is Overwatch's newest hybrid map. It is going to take players on an epic journey through the lands of Warcraft, StarCraft, and Diablo. Like our other hybrid maps, the match starts as a fight over the first control point. The defenders start in the Heroes of the Storm arcade, while the attackers will spawn in the Hearthstone Tavern. From here, the attackers can choose to attack the first point through the gates of Stormwind. There's flanking routes all throughout the first area, like the It's a good name, right? To get here and also to access the high ground. As the attackers enter the area, they'll find an abundance of cover and several health packs in order for them to gain a foothold. And inevitably, the fighting sort of turns into this big rumble around the statue here. And ultimately, if the attackers are successful, the defenders kind of have to fall back towards the point, further into the area. Now, when the attackers take the first point, they'll capture the payload and push it out of the Warcraft area and into the StarCraft area, past the siege tank, and around the pylon terrace. Now, this area is a really large circular arena. There's an abundance of height. They can drop off and directly contest the payload there. The attackers, if they want to, they can try to take the high ground and contest it against the defenders by taking a path up by the siege tank, or they can try to bypass it and sneak around through the Ghost Academy or through the Nexus Experience. There's also all sorts of flanking routes in here. There's a lot of interior opportunities, either to attack the defenders or try to set up inside the pylon terrace. It's nasty. So once the attackers push the payload to the first checkpoint, they'll start pushing into the Diablo area, and their new spawn room will be the passenger loading area for the Reign of the Black King ride, while the defenders move all the way back into the park's command and control center. So here the attackers push the payload, mood and flavor, all the lighting in here. Remind you, you'll find some epic loot in here. Maybe there for the drop. People that we have on the team worked to provide so many different ideas about the park and spawning pool and Lost and Found Vikings. Who's that in the spawning pool? For all the areas, from the inflatable Doomhammer.
Those death wings.
There's souvenirs in each of the area that you can get. So much more detail, there's so much more passion and ideas, and there's a ton of little Easter eggs, not just in the art, but in the audio as well. As you run around, you'll hear the voices of Deckard Cain and the Adjutant from StarCraft. This is something that we have done for ourselves and fans, and for all of you as fans as well. So that's Blizzard World. You guys can play it on the show floor today. It'll be playable all throughout BlizzCon. It's going to be hitting the PTR soon, and it will go live sometime early next year. But this isn't all we have to talk about. It's not just Heroes. It's not just the new map. There's one more thing we have in store for you, and to talk about it is Arnold Sen.
So one of the things about Blizzard World is we want to work on this stuff too. So there wouldn't be a tribute to Blizzard and all its universes without some Blizzard-themed skins. This is something we wanted to do since the beginning of Overwatch when we thought about doing skins. Who's ready to see some skins?
Installing updates. Updates installed.
You're impressed. Looks much
good skins that we as well. Like if you noticed, the video Zarya's, I think Roadhog for his. Anybody see that Reinhardt cinematic this morning? Reinhardt the Crusader, and also Eco Point May. Well, we heard your feedback about wanting more items in the base loot box, and I'm super happy to announce that as early next year, all the skins we showed and more are going to be available in the base loot box of Overwatch. So they're not going to be part of any event. As soon as they're in the loot box, you're going to be able to earn them year-round. We'll have more info early next year, but for now, I got to start saving those credits.
She'll be coming very soon. Check her out on the show floor.